Romanian organization supported by George Soros. By Horatio Pepin. The Romanian Academic Society, headed by Alina Mungiu-Pipidai, has earned over $3 million in recent years, of which $300,000 come from the Sea Trust, an NGO controlled by George Soros. How much would Pipidai receive? Norwegian funds received by the SAR for the project funded under the NGO fund through the financial mechanism of the European Economic Area 2009 to 2014 totaling €236,875, of which 84.8% is a non-repayable grant during April 1, 2014 March 31, 2016, Clean Romania, where I point out that everybody is working on a volunteer basis. And then what are the €236,875, €118,437.5 a year? Funding received from Sea Trust, Soros-sponsored NGO, March 2007 to February 2008, 1 year, $40,300 for the Coalition for a Clean Parliament, April 2008 to May 2009, 1 year, $95,500 for Coalition for Clean Universities, June 2009 to July 2010, 1 year, $93,500, also for Clean Universities, September 2010 to April 2012, 1 year and 7 months, $120,000 for Clean Romania. A total of $349,300. The total amount of funding received in recent years is $3,136,026. Supported organizations. 1. The Academic Society of Romania. 2. The Secular Humanist Association of Romania. 3. Soros Foundation for an Open Society. 4. Foundation for Partnership. 5. Accept Romania. 6. Front Association. 7. Active Watch. 8. Unitai Salvăm Movement. 9. Freedom House Romania. 10. The Association for the Defense of Rights Human Women in Romania, Helsinki Committee, Aphatar Ch. 11. Open Society Institute. 12. Pro-Democracy Association. 13. NGO Terra Milniul 3. And many others. After contributing to the election of the LRU lobbyist as SIE chief, the Soros NGO's man Rima Cernia was honored at the U.S. Embassy in Bucharest. Rima Cernia, in the grace of the U.S. Embassy, alongside George Meyer, the eco-anarchists and Big Brother's laws, but what matters for Cernia, alongside Florian Coldea, first among equals in Sri DNA binomial, alongside the new SIE chief Mihai Razvan Ungurianu, brother with Canadian lobbyist from Gold Corporation, those who want to cyanize us, and which Cernia warmly advocated in Parliament, demanding the sanction of unhappy lawmakers who did not come, ensures the quorum for the HRM. Alongside the independent justice pillar Laura Kodrotakovsky and the general national interest Gabriel Opria. LGBT propaganda in Brussels. Macovei and Weber in the foreground. Very few European citizens know that there is an intergroup working in the European Parliament building in Brussels to promote the rights of lesbian, gay, bisexual and transgender LGBT people in the European Union. Intergroups may be formed by deputies from any political group or commission for the purpose of informal exchanges of views on specific topics and the promotion of contact between MPs and civil society. Intergroups are not parliamentary bodies and as such do not express Parliament's views. Presidents of the intergroups must declare any support they receive, in cash or in kind, according to the same criteria as apply to members individually. Declarations must be updated annually and entered in a public register kept by the quaestors. The LGBT intergroup also works in the 2014 to 2019 legislature, after having been the largest of the 28 EP intergroups in the previous mandate, with 174 members from 6 different political groups. All of its members have volunteered to promote the LGBT agenda. According to the doctrine of the group, its members should monitor the situation of lesbians, gays, bisexuals, and transsexuals in EU countries and beyond, and also to draft reports, resolutions, and amendments in favor of sexual minorities. Currently, the intergroup has 134 members. In the previous term, 3 MEPs from our country were members of this group: Corina Cretu, Renata Weber, and Monica Macovei. Given that about 66% of Romanians trust the Orthodox Church, according to the latest opinion polls, it is hard to understand why some Eurolabels wanted to associate their name with the promotion of the LGBT agenda. Moreover, shortly after their membership in the intergroup became known in Romania, the three took a step back. At least officially. Corina Cretu is currently a European commissioner, so it goes out of hand, but at least theoretically, Macovei and Weber may still be members of the LGBT intergroup, since, according to its official website, its members include 13 MEPs who prefer their names to remain secret. Monica Macovei. Very careful with her image, especially when trying to build a profile. Presidential Macovei omitted to elapse to resume the official website that founding member and honorary accept, the first non-governmental organization in Romania to defend and promote LGBT rights at national level. In 2014, in the campaign for the European parliamentary elections, the Liberal Democratic Party produced an electoral newspaper criticizing the position of the Socialist and Liberal MEPs to vote Estrela's report on sexual and reproductive health and related rights in December 2013. 334 MEPs voted against this document, while another 327 MEPs voted in favor of the resolution. For all, the Estrela report calls on the EU member states to fully abolish abortion by relaxing restrictive legislation, where it already exists, and eliminating administrative delay procedures, counseling, waiting time. Access to abortion should be immediate and without obstacles. Abortion and contraception, as well as sex change operations, must be secured from public money. Restriction of the objection of conscience, used by doctors to refuse abortion, legalization of assisted reproduction for lesbians, obligation of sexual education starting with the primary cycle, abortion and free contraception for adolescents without the knowledge and consent of parents, educating in a positive view on homosexuality. To her credit, Macovei voted against this resolution, along with other colleagues at the time in the PDL, unlike Renata Weber and Corina Cretu, her LGG intergroup colleagues who voted in favor of the controversial document. Coming back, I was writing above that the PDL made a campaign newspaper where Monica Macovei's picture appeared next to Theodore Stolahan, alongside a text that frightened those who had voted in favor of the report. The emergence of this newspaper has enraged Renata Weber, who then made a very interesting statement about Monica Macovei. I am deeply surprised that Mrs. Macovei's name may appear like this because she is a person who has presented, at least in Romanian society and in the international career, as a person of human rights. However, Macovei supported LGBT interests, including by hiring Adrian Rălăcoman, former Accept executive director from 1997 to 2002, at his European Parliament cabinet in Brussels. Coman is now working for the Arcus Foundation, a pro-gay association in New York. In 1998, Macovei and Coman together signed an article published in the journal Medicine and Law of the University of Haifa, entitled Implications for HIV/AIDS of Laws Affecting Men Who Have Sex with Men in Romania. We also quote Monica Macovei's intervention at a LGBT Congress hosted by Strasbourg on April 7, 2011. Since the 1990s, I have been with Accept. We have succeeded in repealing, after 2000, Article 200 of the Penal Code, which criminalized same-sex relationships. Of course, the Orthodox Church and religious groups have always been against our initiatives. They say we are against traditions. I then supported, as Minister of Justice, the conduct of the gay parade in 2005, although the mayor of Bucharest had refused to approve this. I even called the mayor. Now, in Romania, it is still necessary to legislate on same-sex unions, explained Monica Macovei. Renate Weber. Because Mrs. Renate Weber was also trying to make her picture during the election campaign for the European Parliament last year. While in Bucharest she was sending Easter greetings to Sector 3 citizens in Strasbourg, she voted in favor of all reports that promoted the LGBT agenda. One of them is named after Ulrich Lunacek, co-chair of the LGBT intergroup. For all, the Lunacek report calls on the European Commission and the member states of the European Union to recognize homosexual unions and marriages concluded in other countries, calls on the Commission to work with the World Health Organization to eliminate gender identity disorders from the list of mental disorders and behavior, calls for citizens to be made aware of the rights of lesbians, homosexuals, bisexuals, transsexuals, and hermaphrodites, calls for the guarantee of freedom of expression and assembly, especially with regard to parades and similar events. Revision of existing laws limiting freedom of expression in relation to sexual orientation and gender identity, calls for member states to adopt criminal legislation prohibiting incitement to hatred on grounds of sexual orientation and calls for abstaining from the adoption of laws and the gender identity, seeks the right to asylum on specific issues related to sexual orientation and gender identity. Moreover, shortly after sharing Easter greetings, Renate Weber attended an Open Society Foundation debate on May 12, 2014. Where she said her priorities for the new mandate would be, adopt an EU-level equality strategy for LGBT people in the form of a comprehensive action plan to combat discrimination against LGBT people and promote equality. Adopt measures to recognize the rights of transgender people by eliminating at European and national level restrictive legal recognition requirements for transgender people and by supporting EU transatlantic repatriation efforts. Also, the candidate for the European Parliament election supports the rights of LGBT people but does not believe that broader measures will be taken because of a conservative opposition in the European Parliament. Also, Renate Weber is the only Romanian MEP who signed the ILGA declaration for the European Parliament elections in 2009. ILGA, the International Federation of LGBT Organizations around the world, is also funded by the European Commission. Last but not least, in the current parliamentary term, not the situation of Romania but the harassment of the LGBT community in Egypt is among the concerns of Renate Weber, this being the title of a parliamentary question that the PNL Euroleague addressed to the European Commission.